It's fine. All right, so a couple things are, how do we put the leash on the dog, right? You notice that when we put a leash on the dog, a line, it's very important to understand that we put it down like this. So when I'm looking at the dog, this is here, and I put it over the dog. Notice it makes a P, right? I'm looking at the dog is looking at me. Hang on a second. And this makes a P. So if you put it on this way, it would make a Q, and that would be incorrect, right? Because dogs are always on our left side. That's critical. Remember, dogs are always on our left side. That's not a law, but it's the common custom, right? So it's like we customly shake hands with our right hands. Common custom that the dog is on our left side. So that means we need to make a P for the leash to release properly. If not, it won't release properly. So I'm going to put that on her. She's got a slip lead on now. I'm going to put her onto a long line. I'm going to show you why. Okay. Come here. Come here, monkey. Good girl. The other thing to be aware of too is that these stoppers should go all the way down, right, on the dog. So the dog doesn't accidentally pull out of it. We put the stopper all the way down. Pete? She smells like poop. And the first thing we do when we bring a dog into the yard is we let the dog kind of decompress for a minute, right? So we kind of let Pete massage them, a little hot oil massage or something. Good. Is that clean enough? No? Look at that. Pete, my car is a little dusty. I have the same rag for my car. Okay. Do you want a blow dryer? Nice. Now she shakes it off onto me. That's nice. All right, so remember, the first thing you do with a dog, you get him in the yard, you let him decompress. Let him run around, let him poop, pee, sniff around a little bit. Don't bring a dog into a yard and start yanking him around. Really, really unfair. The first thing I do with the dog when I put the leash on or have the leash is I make sure the dog knows I have something that they might want, right, which is going to be treats. So I start to break treats into little pieces. I go, hey, yep, good. She takes it, good. I walk away from her. She takes it, I walk away from her. I'm not asking her to do anything at this point, right? I'm just walking away from her. Yeah, good girl. Nope, right? I'm not doing anything yet. Now at this point, she knows I have treats, right? All I've got to do, and this is a lot easier said than done, is make sure she doesn't trip on this line and that I don't trip on the line, right? So once I know she knows that I have treats, now I'm going to start to engage her. She's going potty, that's great. Good girl, yeah, good girl. And I try to precede the reward with a verbal. I go here. Yeah, good girl. She looked up at me. I mark good girl or yes or whatever you want. Yeah, good girl. There. Yes. Right? So now she knows what? Every time she looks at me, there's a treat involved, right? Yeah, good girl. Now I can start training, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this leash, make sure she's not tangled up in it, which she is here a little bit. I'm going to pull it. And all I'm going to do is get her to walk on a loose leash. Loose leash walking is the first thing we're working on today. Watch how it looks. I walk, I turn, I correct. I walk, I turn. If I stop and she stops, good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. She gets a treat for that. Then again, I walk. Change direction. Notice that I just want her to be on a loose leash. I'm not pulling, popping, doing anything. I'm just trying to get away from her. And then she catches up. Look how nice she's catching up by just knowing that I have some treats. Right? Good girl. Look at that. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, good girl, right? Now, once she's in that position, which means she's doing it at the end of a long line, I'm going to demand more. So now I'm going to ask her to be closer to me. Now I smell very, very good, which is why she wants to be close to me, but I'm going to take it down to about here. Okay, so I'm cutting it in half. Now I'm going to ask her to do it at this distance, right? Here, I turn, I correct. Good girl. I turn, I stop, she stops, she sits. Good girl. She saw that dog, right? Didn't go for that dog, chose to stay with me. And I try not to put the treats on the floor. Try not to put treats on the floor for this exercise. I'll show you why later. Now I give her a verbal cue. Let's go. I walk. And again, I'm at the half the leash. I try to get away from her. I'm going to make it a little harder on her. I never, ever, never, ever do this. And I guarantee you, half of you are going to do this. You're not going to know it, but I'll tell you what, when you do it, I'm going to give everybody in the class 5 push-ups. So don't do it.
Oh man, I'll be buff.
You'll be strong. You'll be strong. I never want you to rely on this hand, your left hand, to correct the dog. The leash is in your right hand. This is only steering you. When I do my correction, watch what happens when I turn. Here, I want her on this side. I turn, look where my hand is, right? I go here. I just use this hand to make sure she's close to me that I don't trip on the leash and she doesn't trip. All my corrections, if I'm here, are here. Watch again. I bring the leash in, I make sure she's on the right side. I turn, I let it all slide through. Good girl. That's what I'm looking for in a shelter dog. This dog is already much more adoptable than any dog in there who doesn't do this. Because I can show the dog walks on a nice leash, right? And she follows, and she sits, and she pays attention. What a nice, lovely dog, right? Good girl. All right, so I'll let the first person use this dog. Whoever wants to, okay. Good job.
Nice dog.
Good job, Kat, yeah.